So before we get into React hooks and use our first React hook built-in use state, first we have to understand what is a state. So before we learn about the props, and we say some data that you pass from the parent components to the child components, like we did here for example, into the items. We put the items, we pass it as a prop, and then inside there we read it and display this data. And this item came from the parent component, which is list component, and we pass it here. So props, basically you pass data from up to down, and that child component only read it and display it. Okay, it doesn't manage it. But let's say for example, if you want some variable here, or we call it a state, that's where you want to hold some data and change it and modify it, then display it. So that's data, or that variable you're storing, you are managing through the components, then displaying it. So that is different between state and props. Let's see the definition in the React library documentation. So props, which is short for properties, and state are both plain JavaScript objects. They are just objects. While both hold information that influence the output of render, like you say here, we are rendering that data. They are different in one important way. So there's one way which are different. Props get passed to the components like we did here. We pass the prop from the parent component to this component and we read it, okay? Whereas state is managed within the component itself. So the state, you can add that state in here. It's an object, you declare it here and you manage it here and use it, okay? And there's no better way than understanding the difference than having a plain demo. So in our next video, we'll get to use the state.